Good day, everyone, and welcome to Home at the Hollow. I want to thank you for joining me. Today, I'm going to share one of the very best recipes that I have for blueberry muffins. This particular recipe takes blueberry muffins to the next level. So if you want to impress your neighbors, your coworkers, your children, your friends, if you want to dazzle your partner, then keep on watching. I hope you join me. So one of the really great components to this particular recipe is making your own blueberry jam. And what I've been doing, this is 1 cup of blueberries and 1 teaspoon of granulated sugar. I put it over a low heat and started to warm it gently, cook it gently. And as I see that it's starting to cook, I take just a spoon and just give just a very gentle mash to the blueberries to release some of the juices. And what you should have after you've cooked it down, and you're going to need to cook this down. As you can see, it's not really spilling, dripping out of there. This is cooked down to roughly 1/4 cup. And you want to go ahead and get this done and cooled off before you start on the rest of the recipe, okay? And so there you go. I mean, it's honestly very, very easy, very, very simple. And if you don't want to do this, then by all means, go to your local grocer and just pick up a jar of blueberry jam preserves, what have you. And that will suffice just fine. But I had blueberries. I basically use what I have. And there you go. A little bit of blueberry jam. And I am back with my blueberry jam that I made on the stovetop. And again, if you don't want to go to that much trouble, there's no shame in going and just buying a jar or a bottle of blueberry preserves jam. I'm not really quite sure how they market it, but I always use what I have and use it to the best that I can. And what I have here is, if I can reach it, is 1/3 cup of granulated sugar. And to that, I am going to zest an entire lemon, which is about a teaspoon and a half. And what I like to do, and of course you're going to do it really right over your granulated sugar, but I do that because as you're zesting your lemon, orange, lime, whatever it is that you've got, but in this case lemon, it literally sprays the lemon oil on top of the granulated sugar, and you really get a good bang for your buck. So just make sure you don't go down to the pith. And get this off of here. There will always be some on the back side to stick. We'll set this aside. But these are going to be your toppings, or the blueberry jam and the lemon peel infused granulated sugar. And I wish that you guys could smell this. This is beautiful. A beautiful, beautiful dish. But those are your toppings, and you need to go ahead and get those done ahead of time so they're cooled and happy. And because when I start to cook and when I start gathering my ingredients, I will allow my eggs and most everything else to set out for probably a good hour to bring them to room temperature. And one more thing that you need to do before you start making the batter and all of the other components, melt 1/4 cup of either salted or unsalted butter. It entirely depends on what you have already. But just, you know, when you go to mix the salt in with your flour, just kind of make the adjustments, excuse me, from there. In here, the batter aspect of this particular recipe is 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I have added already 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder, excuse me, and 1 teaspoon of salt. I added 1 teaspoon of salt because this is unsalted butter. If you have salted butter, take it down maybe to 1/2 teaspoon. But, you know, I always whisk my flour. If you want to whisk it with just a hand whisk, or if you have something a little different, then use what you have. But I always try to make sure that everything I put in there is, you know, kind of happy, and make sure it's whisked up real well. And so that's basically your dry ingredients. So we're going to set this over here. Your wet ingredients are 2 eggs, if I can find them. Oh, right in front of me, of course. 2 eggs. And again, these are definitely room temperature. I'm going to give them just a little whisk. I'm going to add 1 cup of buttermilk. And if you don't have buttermilk, then certainly just use regular milk and add a teaspoon of vinegar to it and bring it to a curdle. So 1/4 of a cup of melted butter, cooled. We're going to add that to it. I'm going to be adding 1 1/8 of a cup of granulated sugar to your egg and butter mixture. I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of vegetable oil. We want these to be nice and moist. There we go. Give that a good, you know, this is one of those recipes where you don't need a big mixer. It's just really easy to do with your hands. So set this aside. And the next thing to add to this is 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. I'm going to give mine a little bit of a shake. This is 2-year-old vanilla that I made, and it's just absolutely fabulous. And there you go. That's basically the gist of your wet ingredients. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to add this to our dry ingredients. And again, I don't have a problem mixing this with my hand. Because, I mean, in particular with muffins, I learned a long time ago in home ec class, I think I must have been in the 8th grade, I had a wonderful, wonderful teacher, but she was very, very specific. Do not overmix your muffins. She would say, she was very proper. They will be, she told us, they will be tough. So I rarely do muffins in my big stand mixer. And we are just about there. And you're going to see lumps, but that's okay. That's basically probably more than likely some of the buttermilk in there, some of the butter that's, you know, kind of come into contact with something maybe just a wee bit cooler. And there you go. Oh my goodness. It is a thing of beauty. And just scrape the bottom and the sides to make sure that you have everything like you want it. And of course, it wouldn't be blueberry muffins without blueberries. A cup, I have a healthy cup of blueberries here. If you want to add more, certainly you can add more. I like and I prefer to use fresh blueberries because I've tried it ad nauseum with frozen, and frozen blueberries will really turn the color of this batter. It'll be a gray, green, just a very unappetizing thing. And I'm going to just spray my tin. I've got a vintage tin here, a muffin tin here, that has, I don't know if you can see the little ridges on the bottom, but I love using my gray vintage tin. It is, oh my goodness, it's probably about 45 or 50 years old. And the rest is really pretty easy. I take a ice cream scoop. I don't know how well these particular muffins are going to do like in a mini tin. They probably would do well if you don't add the blueberry preserves. My experience with small mini tins is that, you know, it's really great for batter and, you know, things like that, but when you start adding streusels and things like that on top of them, but I can almost guarantee you, your family, your friends, like I said, your partner, whoever, are going to just absolutely love these. And I can tell you, every recipe that I bring to you guys is going to be the very best of years and years and years of cooking experience, the absolute very best. And I think maybe a little bit more here. And for me, this makes a good dozen. What you want to do is you want to take your jam, and this is, yes, this is before you bake it, and just put a wee bit here. I'll do this as quickly as possible. Just a, you know, a scant teaspoon. It doesn't need to be an incredible amount that you're going to put on here. And for me, it was just barely enough. But you know what? These are going to be so delicious, guys. They're going to go incredible with a cup of tea. And what you want to do after that, you can leave it sitting there like this, but I take a little bit of a knife and do a little bit of a swirl, just a little bit. You don't need to go crazy with it. You can do a figure 8 or whatever suits you. And everyone, oh my goodness, everyone at the end, I made these at the end all the time, along with many, many other things. But they were a huge, huge favorite at the end that I baked for and cooked for. It wasn't very often that I ever had any leftovers of anything at the end. But, and I'm going to use my hands, just a little bit of the lemon sugar. And you want to bake these at a 425 oven for, you know, depending on your oven. For me, it's about 15 to 19 minutes. And certainly, you know, you want to skewer them and make sure they're done. But we will get these in the oven. We will absolutely get these in the oven, and I will see you in a few for a good taste test. And I have allowed these gloriously beautiful muffins to cool probably about 10-15 minutes in the pan, and they've been cooling on their own for about half an hour now. I wanted to show you guys. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to cut this. I want you to see just, it has a crisp top. Of course, it's, you know, the granulated sugar and lemon. I just wanted to show you what this looks like. This is a moist, delicious muffin. And I just wanted to show you guys. I think you guys can see. I can tell you, if you have anyone in your home that enjoys fresh baked, home baked goods, these aren't going to last very long. So I'm taking a wee bit of the side here. Uh-oh. I'm going to have to wrap these and freeze these because they won't last long. And I certainly don't need them kicking around the house saying, please, please. But you know what, guys? Really, just an incredibly, you know, there's a little bit of texture in there on the top, which is the whole purpose of a streusel. And then you have your fresh baked muffin. Oh my goodness. I sincerely hope that you give these a try. There's a couple of extra steps, but you know, again, if you don't want to make your own blueberry jam like I did, then by all means get a commercially made blueberry jam or preserve or something like that and use it like that. There's, you know, there's no problem or shame in doing that. I totally understand, but these could not, excuse me, be any easier. So give them a go, give them a try, and let me know how you like them. Now, this has been a recipe, and again, this is what this channel is all about. It's about my years and years and years of experience with cooking and particularly baking, serving to the public. And I'm going to bring you my absolute very, very best recipes. So when you get in the kitchen and you use this recipe and you try this recipe, you will know that you're going to hit the out of the proverbial ballpark. So you guys have a great rest of the day, and I hope that you subscribe. I hope that you join me again. Hit the bell for notifications of when I upload, and we will see you very soon. Now, y'all come back to see me. Bye now.